Welcome to the 10-Minute Tuesday. This week is Passover week. This week commemorates a major feast in the calendars. You can see that in Leviticus 23 of all the feasts of the Lord. Jehovah put together his calendar revolves around all these feasts. Nothing that he does in this world operates outside of those feasts. If you look at Passover, if you look at the Feast of Weeks, if you look at all of these things, Shavuot, the Feast of Trumpets, you've got Tabernacles, all of these are his calendar by how he works in our lives, through our lives, and with our lives. So this week is Passover. This is a huge deal. This is the first feast of the year. So, with that being said, we are in the ultimate quarantine right now. This is the first time in our lifetimes that we have been under lockdown. Much like the Hebrew people, Jehovah told them to quarantine yourselves. Put yourselves inside of a room. Do not go outside. Put the blood of the lamb over the doorposts and stay inside. But I'm not here to talk about staying inside. I'm here to talk about the leaven, Passover, the chametz that we all go find and clean the house. You know, the Hebrews were the first people to originate spring cleaning because they go through the house, scour the house, looking for chametz, leaven, because Jehovah commanded the people to get the leaven out of the house before Passover. So the sweep to get the leaven out of the house, it should get, in this quarantine, it should get our minds focused of what leaven we have in our hearts that should be swept out. What leaven do we have in our minds that should be swept out? What is the leaven in our life that is defeating the commandments, that is holding us back from living how he has called us to live? You know, in 1 Corinthians 5, it talks about the leaven, and I'm going to read pretty much 7-8 verses so you can get the context of what Paul was writing to the church in Corinth. It is actually reported to you that there's immorality among you, and immorality such kind that doesn't even exist among the Gentiles. Someone has his father's wife. Have you become arrogant and not mourned instead, in order that who has done this deed might be reproved in your midst? For I on part might be absent in the body, but I am present in spirit, and already have judged who has committed this, as if I were present. And in the name of the Lord Jesus, when you are assembled, and I am with you in spirit, and in the power of the Lord Jesus, I have decided to deliver such a one to Satan for the destruction of his flesh, that his spirit might be saved on the day of the Lord Jesus. Your boasting is not good. Do you not know that a little leaven leavens the whole dough? Clean out the old chametz. Clean out the old chametz. Clean out the old leaven. And be a new lump, just you are in fact unleavened. For Yeshua, our Passover, has also been sacrificed. Let us not celebrate this feast with old leaven. Let us therefore celebrate the feast, not with the old leaven, nor with the leaven of malice or wickedness, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth. So this whole feast, because the day after Passover is the Feast of Unleavened Bread. It all starts that night. First night goes on for 7 days, a Feast of Unleavened Bread. Nothing in the house is to be leavened. Now, leaven has many orthodoxies. Some go to the extreme and throw away toothpaste because it has baking soda in it. Some go throw away oats, barley, malts, things like that cause leavening agents. It's not truly clear. You can go to different schools and see who says what. But we all know, get the gist, that sin is leaven. He is talking about breaking the commandments. That is leaven. So what in our hearts and in our bodies and in our minds are we breaking the commandments, leavening our life where we should be unleavened? Holiness. This is a very touchy subject because you have pendulum swings with this word. You have the holiness movement that is just completely disregarded their brains, and then you have others that say, why should I have to live holy? Jesus has died for all my sins. I'm saved. It's not what I do. It's his works that work within me. I was like, that is foolishness as well. So the leaven, the old leaven of malice and evil, we need to get rid of those. So what is malice? What is evil? Well, malice is just intentionally doing what is contrary to the law. If you look in Greek, it's funny. Kakia. And then if you get down into its root, it's kakos. It's where we get the words kaka, or it's horse junk, or feces. It's desecration. It's a defecation. And it's kind of funny how it's a product of digestion. And that's what malice is. We get it in us and we work in us. We let it work within us and we get all bent out of shape and let that leaven fester in our lives. And evil is wickedness. It's when we start intertwining things into our lives and we build this rope. It started off as one thing and then it weaves another strand of evil. And before long, we know we are bound by this entrenchment, which of wickedness. But Paul says, cast off malice and evil. For Yeshua, your Passover lamb, has been slain. The blood is on the doorpost. If you're outside, the death angel has full reign over your life. But if you stand inside of that Passover, where the malice and the evil, the leaven of the old life has been swept out, it's been cleaned out, and you step into that unleavened atmosphere, that is where holiness reigns. With truth and sincerity, Paul says. It's like holiness is not a weird concept. It means just to be different. Where malice and evil is a common concept in the world, holiness, being different, being sincere and truthful, is a concept of Yeshua. And sincerity is just purity. It means when you go outside and look at the sky and there's nothing, no clouds, no birds, just no chemtrails, no jet exhaustion, just blue, perfect, uninterrupted blue. That is what sincerity means, to be unmarked, completely blank canvas. And truth is just to be unmasked, to be unhidden, to be revealed, the fact, the realities. See, everybody can say, well, that's not truth. I believe this to be truth. We have theories. There's a big difference between theories and truth. Truth is A plus A can never equal non-A. That's the objectivity of truth. So we need to come to a point to where we stop playing with leaven like that man did and took his stepmother as his wife. He was, nothing's going to harm me. I'm under grace. But A plus A can never equal non-A. Righteousness and holiness can never equal these kind of activities. We need to get that in our mind to learn to walk in the unleavened attitude and not the leavened attitude of the old life. This is where Peter was talking about. The point of Passover is to create a peculiar people, to create an unleavened people. And what did God do on Passover? He created an escape plan to take us out of where we were in bondage of the old self, of the old leaven, and take us into the new reality of the unleavened life. That's the beauty of who and what the Passover reality is. That holiness is doing God's reality on the earth. It's being different. It is not living in a leavened atmosphere, but living the unleavened life. That is what the Feast of Unleavened Bread is all about, is to get rid of the old self, to get rid of the leaven of sin, malice, anger, and come to reality of who he is, of holiness, of living his way, not our ways, getting rid of the old leaven, sweeping it out, and becoming the bread that he has created the recipe for. He has given us the ingredients for success, holiness, and righteousness. But we must understand them, we must use them, and we must apply them. That is what Passover is all about. It is not a story. It is an application for life. Not today, not tomorrow, every day. That is the unleavened life.